Hello and welcome to the Careers Team podcast. On this episode, we'll be talking about uni, and that will be with myself, Rachel Smith, Careers Advisor at Mid-Ken, Joanne Daly, Careers Advisor at Mid-Ken, and Martha Collins, our Widening Participation Officer at Mid-Ken. So we're going to be exploring the topic of uni. So this is something that people are going to start to be thinking about as they're entering into the second year of their level 3 qualification, or sort of more heading towards the end of year 1, looking forward to the beginning of year 2. What's the first thing, do you think, and I'll give this to Martha, that students need to start thinking about?
So I suppose it's looking at what their goal is, and it's almost working back. So look at where they want to go from a point of view of the career, and then check what qualifications they're going to need. So do they need to go to university to get their role? So if you look at nursing nowadays, you do need to go to university. However, for something like police officer, you don't. You could go to university, but equally you could go out there and get the role itself. So it's work backwards, and then really have a look. So if you're interested in art and design, start looking at where you would like to either drill down and be very specific, or do you want an open course, that type of thing. And I suppose then it's where do you need to start thinking about where you want to go as well. So are you going to stay at home? And so therefore it would be local universities, or are you going to be able to move away? Depends on your circumstances, your capability, your independence. Do you want to live away and have that full university experience, or do you want to stay at home where maybe things are a little bit easier because you've got parental support or family support around you? Yeah.
So talking about parental support, a lot of parents are probably going to want to support their young person in sort of making these decisions and exploring these topics. What's the best way, do you feel, that parents can get involved with this journey?
Okay, so really looking on what's called UCAS. UCAS are a charity, and it's almost a one-stop shop for searching courses, searching careers, searching the universities that offer those courses as well, of which there are hundreds of thousands. So yeah, it's a good place to start for parents and for students.
Excellent. Now, one of the things I think, from my perspective, thinking about my two eventually maybe looking at university, one of the things that makes me a little bit nervous is the finance side of things. What would parents need to know, or what's important for parents and students to know around, how this is all funded, what it looks like? I feel maybe intimidated by university because of the headline figures that I see around costs and things like that. In your opinion, what do you think they need to sort of start thinking about or exploring, or what to do to overcome these sort of concerns?
So one of the people that's out there in the marketplace, as it were, is Martin Lewis. He has got a fantastic video on the finance situation with university. It's not cheap. However, as if you're a UK national or you've been in the UK for at least 3 years, you should be able to qualify for home fee status. That means that your tuition fees will be paid for upfront, no cost to you at this stage. And then your maintenance loan or living cost loan is very much based on household income. It runs from anything from about £4,000 through to £13,000 for study in London. Obviously, London is much more expensive to live, etc. Those are the two loans. The government finance that. You would then pay that back at the end of your course. It's not saying that the 3 years or 4 years in university is easy, but you can work. So you can get yourself a little part-time job, which is sometimes why people do choose to stay at home, because they've already got their part-time job. But then you can work yourself.
And a lot of places, if they've got a little part-time job at college, they can transfer, can't they? Typically,
Absolutely, yeah.
So
So if they're with any of the big companies, Tesco's, McDonald's, those type of places, they can ask to transfer. And the universities themselves are big employers of students. So you can become an ambassador, or you can work on the university sites in the cafes or the restaurants, or if they've got a theatre, the theatres, those types of things. So there's lots of opportunities there for students to work and supplement their maintenance loan. The maintenance loan is there for things like your rent if you're living away. It's there also for maybe costs, so your day-to-day living costs. And potentially some of your university costs. So if you need certain uniform, or you need things like books and things like that are specific to your course. You don't have to pay it back until you are at this moment of recording. So we are January 2026. You don't pay anything back until you are earning over £25,000 per year, and then it's done on a pro rata basis. And I suppose what I'm saying is it becomes affordable. So the paying back is taken out of your monthly salary along with your tax and your national insurance, or if you're self-employed, then it would be at the end of your year with your statutory return.
And you might be able to get scholarships or bursaries as well. So, definitely have a look at that. It could be, depending on what grades you get, you might get scholarships or bursaries, which means you don't have to pay it back. So, whatever your circumstances, do check each uni to see whether that's applicable.
Absolutely. And that sort of leads on to something else I wanted to explore. Is, students that perhaps have educational healthcare plans or additional support needs, again, can sometimes feel a little bit intimidated by the idea of university. Yeah. So one sort of perhaps the financial element, perhaps cost for equipment or the support that they might get. What does it look like for students that maybe have an educational healthcare plan or additional needs?
So your educational healthcare plan would cease. However, then it becomes what's called an ILP, so an individual learning plan. And the universities have really caught up in the last couple of years. They are so supportive. Their wellbeing services and student support services are really very, very good. The way you access that is slightly different. So it's done through something called the Disabled Students Allowance, which DSA is what it's known as. There's a lot to fill in, but it's done by the DSA. So it's an interview, whether that's telephone or online. It really does, the support is there. So whatever support you've been receiving at college, you will get some form of that at university. It may not look exactly the same, but it will be whatever they can put into place. So definitely don't rule it out, and speak to the universities that you are looking at. Go and see them. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Go see your university of choice and make sure that they can support your needs. And that goes for anybody, whether that's an EHCP or other issues.
And you'd recommend open days, going to as many as you can?
Definitely, yeah. You get 5 choices, but you would, technically, you don't have to have the same course at 5 different universities. You might have one university and choose 2 from that one. So go and look at the universities, because you're going to be spending the next 3 or 4 years there. It's really important to make sure that you're going to be happy where you're going to be studying. And then you need to look at whether you want to be in a city environment or whether you want a campus. A campus is very much that I could drop you there and you'll be self-sufficient for the next 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Whereas a city university, very much that you'll be based in one part of town, but your accommodation may be in another part of town. So, we would definitely recommend go and visit the universities. And you can start doing that now. If you're applying for 2027, you need to be looking now. If you're applying for a bit later, then again, still go and start having a look now. If you know that you're career does involve a degree, then please do that. Yeah.
Excellent. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into university. But if you do have any questions, and I'm sure you do, because it can feel like a sort of a big mountain to climb, please do get in contact with the careers team at Mid-Kent College, and also Martha, our Widening Participation Officer, who is an expert, as we have heard, in the university application process.
The Mid-Kent College Careers Podcast is a Mid-Kent creative media production. Sound recording and editing by Mason Cox and Jack Webb. Music by Logan Calvert.